Alchemy, the science of understanding, deconstructing, and reconstructing matter. However, it is not an all-powerful art. It is impossible to create something out of nothing. If one wishes to obtain something, something of equal value must be given. This is the law of equivalent exchange, the basis of all alchemy. In accordance with this law, there is a taboo among alchemists. Human transmutation is strictly forbidden, for what could equal the value of a human soul? Did you get all that? I hope so, because it's all going to be important for today's minute. Today we're going to be talking about Full Metal Alchemist, and do you have a minute to talk about alchemy? Greetings, fellow state alchemists, and welcome to another exciting episode of Matt's Minutes. Today, we are going to be covering my favorite show of all time, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Not to be confused with Full Metal Alchemist. There's a whole thing going on with that. But anyway, yes, you heard that right. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is my favorite show of all time, anime or not. I love this show so much. So I figured, why not do a theory on it? Now, before we get too far into this episode, I do want to talk about what alchemy is in the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood universe, for those of you that might not be as aware. So in the show, alchemy is kind of this superpower mixed with science, mixed with magic kind of thing. Really kind of confusing, so I'm going to do the best I can. Really, all you need to know for today is that it's divided up into three things, kind of like what I said at the beginning of this episode. The first is understanding. Alchemists need to be able to understand what they are going to be able to use their alchemy on at a molecular level, to know what it's composed of and all of that good stuff. So they can do the next part of that, which is deconstruction. Deconstruction is where they deconstruct something, take it apart at the molecular level. And then the final part of that is reconstruction, which means then they reconstruct those atoms at a molecular level and those elements in order to build whatever it is that they want. Now, there's different kinds of alchemy that we see in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, such as steel alchemy, flame alchemy, water alchemy, earth alchemy. And all of these basically work the same way. They have to know what they are going to be using their alchemy on. They have to then deconstruct it and then reconstruct it. And these can be used to do different things, like turn stone into somebody's face, use it on metal to disguise a car, or even take TNT and deconstruct it to make a lot of ammonia. So, now you know what alchemy is in the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood universe. Now, one thing that I felt was missing from the show in the 4 times that I've watched it is that I did not notice any air alchemy. We see a lot of other elements thrown around in the show, but no air. And so I thought to myself, why is that? So I did what the alchemists in the show do. I went to understand what air is. And honestly, it was pretty interesting. So I felt like I would share it with you guys. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So let's take a look at understanding what air is. So air is made of nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, neon, hydrogen, argon, and various other elements. Most of air consists of nitrogen and oxygen. That makes up at least, I believe, 90-95% of the air that we breathe. So those are the most common elements found in air. Now, depending on where you live, there's going to be different amounts of different things into the air, which makes it a little bit harder to control. So just something to keep that in mind. Now that we've talked about understanding what air is, let's talk about deconstruction. So let's say that we're going to deconstruct air. As I mentioned earlier, most of that is going to be nitrogen and oxygen. So that means that we could then reconstruct an element that predominantly uses nitrogen and oxygen with some carbon dioxide thrown in there. So I did some research and figured out, I wonder what else is made of those specific elements. And you know what happens to fit all 3 of those perfectly? Fire. One thing I actually learned in my research for this episode was just how similar air and fire actually are in terms of their chemical makeup. So yes, most of the elements in air can be used to make fire. So what do I propose for the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood universe? What I'm saying is that Roy Mustang's flame alchemy, and the secret to it is it's not just flame alchemy, it's fire and air. So when he snaps his fingers, he creates a spark using his glove. That is confirmed. And then he can control the flame and make it go long range to air, or just make it much larger than it actually was, using just that little spark. So we don't really see that anywhere else in the show. If someone's using water alchemy, they can only use the water that's available to them. Same with earth and steel. They can't just make steel out of thin air. So if he's only making a flame that big, he shouldn't be able to just make it expand like that, right? Wrong. So because he also is fluent in air alchemy, he can use the air and deconstruct it and then reconstruct it into fire, since they use similar elements. That's why he can take a spark and make it so big. Boom! Truth bomb dropped. And when you look at that, looks like our minute is up for today. Hey, but thank you guys so much for joining in. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm onto something and that Roy Mustang is secretly a flame and air alchemist? Are you convinced that air alchemy now exists in the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood universe? I would love to hear what you have to say in the comment section down below, so please let me know. Even if you think I'm wrong, please let me know. That's what the comments are for. The only thing I ask is that we keep everything civil, you know. If you like this video, please give it a like, and if you would like to, and haven't already, I recommend subscribing to the channel so you can stay up to date on all the latest content. We post one video a week, usually it's on Monday, because Matt's Minutes on Mondays works pretty well for alliteration's sake. So hey, my name is Matt, thank you guys so much, and I will see you all next week.